is an NBC News special report. Here's Chris Jansing.
Good day from New York. We're coming on the air because President Trump is about to make an announcement on trade from the Oval Office amid reports of a preliminary deal between the U.S. and Mexico to revamp NAFTA. Renegotiating trade deals, of course, has been one of the president's signature issues, both on the campaign trail and in office. This preliminary agreement does not include Canada, which is also a party to NAFTA, so many big issues remain unresolved. Still, it would be a significant step toward the president's goals. Now, as we await the tape of the president, let's get right to our chief White House correspondent, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, this is something that we had heard over the course of the last year of negotiations might fall apart. What happened? What do we know right now?
And remember, negotiations have been happening for months, Chris. So here's what I can tell you. The headlines from the president's announcement just within the last couple of minutes that you will see momentarily. The president announcing that he has negotiated a new trade pact just with Mexico. So this is not necessarily NAFTA right now. The president says they will call it the U.S.-Mexico Free Trade Pact. He was in the Oval Office and he actually got the president of Mexico on speakerphone to talk about this. The president framing this as a big step forward. But here's the critical X factor, Chris. Canada. What happens with Canada? As you know, NAFTA involves not just the U.S. and Mexico, but also our neighbors to the north. And for the last month or so, Canada has not been involved in negotiations.
All right. Thanks so much, Hallie. Now let's go to the Oval Office and listen to the president. We'll see you back here on the other side. You can hear that tape re-racking. What happens is they actually have taped this announcement by the president. They have brought it back to the briefing room, at the back of the briefing room, where they are trying to get that all together. But again, this is the 24-year-old NAFTA free trade agreement. It is between Mexico, where they have reached a deal. And remember, in the past, we had heard from this president that deals had been reached, that they had not come to pass. This does seem to be a done deal between the U.S. and Mexico. But then the third party will be Canada. And then, even if Canada can be brought in, and they've already indicated now that they may be willing to come in, their foreign minister is coming to the U.S. either later today or tomorrow, it still would have to go before Congress. This is a kind of treaty that needs approval by Congress. Let's listen to the president, again, just moments ago in the Oval Office.
Hello, everybody. It's a big day for trade, big day for our country. A lot of people thought we'd never get here because we all negotiate tough. We do, so does Mexico. And this is a tremendous thing. This has to do, they used to call it NAFTA. We're going to call it the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement. And we'll get rid of the name NAFTA. It has a bad connotation because the United States was hurt very badly by NAFTA for many years, and now it's a really good deal for both countries, and we look very much forward to it. And I believe the president is on the phone. Enrique? Yeah, you can hook him up. You tell me when. How are you?
And so the president there making that announcement, saying it's a great day for the United States. He is waiting to talk, or was waiting to talk on the phone to the president of Mexico, Enrique Peña Nieto. Let's go to Hallie Jackson. Hallie, what do we know about the details of this pact?
A couple of things, Chris, and some of the details are still sketchy. Remember, there will be a time period, according to the U.S. Trade Representative, when the details will kind of get worked out into paperwork, et cetera. You also mentioned that any kind of a deal does need to be approved by Congress. Now, President Peña Nieto, the Mexican president, our president, President Trump, tried to get on the phone there. You can see in the video they're working to get Peña Nieto up on speakerphone. Said it is his wish, as you hear him beginning to speak in Spanish, that, in fact, Canada be brought into this deal. The president, though, is not going that far. He is saying that either Canada could come into this deal, make it a three-party deal, or there will be a separate deal worked out with Canada. If that cannot happen, the president is threatening new tariffs against automakers. This is something, again, the president has talked about repeatedly ever since his campaign. For him, it is a promise made, but not yet a promise kept until, in fact, this trade deal is complete, Chris.
Yeah, we will only sign on to a new NAFTA that is good for Canada and good for the middle class, Hallie, is the word from the official in Canada, who, again, we're told that Chrystia Freeland is making her way there. We've also seen reaction on Wall Street to the president tweeting this morning about this agreement, reacting favorably. The numbers have been up about 200 points. But let's go to our business correspondent, Jolene Kent. We see right now that the markets are up 206, a positive reaction, but also wait and see on Wall Street.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some gains, but now they're paring back just a little bit. But we are hovering right around 200 points up on the Dow right now. The NASDAQ also crossing 8,000 for the first time today in reaction to this news. But let's take a very close look at some of the companies that may be affected. We're talking about General Motors, Ford, Fiat Chrysler, Caterpillar, of course. And these companies have really been on the front lines of this back and forth between the U.S. and Mexico, which very much centers around steel and aluminum. But those companies this morning, Chris, are now up about 2%, about 4%. So we're seeing some very positive reactions to this early detail of what this trade agreement could look like between the U.S. and Mexico.
Yeah, very much just a first step. Jolene Kent, thank you so much. Much more on all of this, plus the latest on tributes for Senator John McCain and all the day's other top stories tonight on NBC Nightly News. For now, I'm Chris Jansing, NBC News, New York.